Welcome to the Mendocino County Fire Safe Council podcast. We hope this series helps you learn how to survive and thrive in a wildfire-prone environment. December's fire in Malibu is a reminder of the new reality that fire season in California is year-round. In addition to home hardening and defensible space, prescribed burns are a prime strategy to reduce fuels that can feed wildfires. Native Americans practiced cultural burning for thousands of years before contact with European settlers who forced them to stop using fire on the landscape. Far from being a form of glorified arson, a well-run prescribed burn takes place only after permits and weather conditions have been scrupulously analyzed, the land is prepared, and safety measures are in place. Burns are also labor and knowledge intensive, with trained burn bosses running crews that have been briefed and briefed again on what to look out for, safety contingencies, and specialized roles. In the season of 2024-25, the Mendocino County Fire Safe Council is promoting prescribed burns through its new Grizzly Corps Fellow. She spoke to us a few days after her arrival on September 19th at a work party on Pine Mountain.
My name's Emily Lord, and I am the 2024-25 Grizzly Corps Fellow for the Mendocino County Fire Safe Council.
How long have you been here?
I have been here less than a week, since Sunday.
And tell us a little bit about the Grizzly Corps Fellowship.
It's a collaboration between AmeriCorps and UC Berkeley to focus on rural climate action and capacity building in rural communities. There's two main focuses, one in forestry and fire, which is the section that I'm in, and one regenerative ag. My work here will be focused mainly on scaling up the Prescribed Burn Association and accelerating their operations, and then also separately working with the Hopland Research and Extension Center to expand their fire science education program for schools across the county.
One of Emily's main focuses this year is to help expand the number of prescribed burns throughout the county. She started in mid-September and had Firefighter 2 training under her belt before the end of the month. By October, following a late summer heat wave, Emily's feet were firmly on the ground. She had taken part in burns with CAL FIRE and Jackson Demonstration State Forest, the Eel River Recovery Project in Laytonville, and with TERRA, the Tribal Ecosystem Restoration Alliance in Lake County. She was all in, waxing poetic about the view of smoke through the canopy on 30 acres of former timberland in Laytonville.
I have such a strong visual of the madrone trees on the eastern side of the burn unit. It was walking through there in the late afternoon, and all the litter had been burned away, and it's these beautiful red madrone trees, and the smoke's clearing, and the sunbeams are coming through the smoke.
On another burn at the Middletown Rancheria of Pomo Indians with TERRA, she observed the return of indigenous land management practices.
It was really awesome to be a part of, very intergenerational. The burn boss brought his mom and brought his wife and his two little daughters, who are like 2 and 4, to watch, which was really incredible.
The personality of this fire was completely different from the one in the Oak Woodlands by the Eel River.
Yeah, grassland burns are a lot quicker, so the actual burn was done in about an hour, and we had patrolling afterwards, and we were cleaning up hot spots and such. But yeah, it's really interesting to watch how different and how quickly grass catches as opposed to tan oak litter or any other kind of sort of timber understory.
She's not just here to take in impressions, though. She also took part in a study led by Mike Jones, the University of California Cooperative Extension's forest advisor for Mendocino, Lake, and Sonoma counties. A founding member of the Mendocino County Prescribed Burn Association, Dr. Jones runs research burns in Jackson Demonstration State Forest. Emily was there on the day of a 400-acre burn to gather observations about weather conditions and fire behavior.
What were some of the data points that you collected or really distinct memories that you have of the burn?
The data points I collected were mostly observing fire behavior. So we would pick a spot, take the weather at that spot, and look at the fire behavior of either backing, flanking, or head fire, and observe the rate of spread, how high the flame lengths are, what the scorch height is, observe the smoke column, see what it's doing, and mark down the time, and then take a lot of pictures. But yeah, it was pretty incredible to see. We worked with CAL FIRE on that burn, so they just have a totally different scale of operation. So it was really awesome to be a part of such a large burn where they were able to burn so many acres in one day. So just watching fire run through a redwood forest is definitely a first for me.
By the first week of December, she was training to become a firing boss, who is second in command to the burn boss at a prescribed burn. And she was ready for her quiz a few days later.
The first day was learning about what the role of a firing boss is and what variables you have to juggle, from understanding squad dynamics to fire behavior to what kind of paperwork do you need to fill out and how to give a firing briefing. And the second day focused on splitting up into small groups and creating a mock firing plan for little delineated burn units that the instructors had pre-planned. And then we had to give a tight 5-minute firing briefing at the end of the day with our firing plan for the proposed burn unit, which was really fun. I got to meet a lot of different fire practitioners from the area and honestly some far-flung ones, and brushed up on my public speaking skills and really tried to understand, the steps of designing a firing plan, from understanding and thinking about what the objectives of the burn are, to thinking about the ideal fuel conditions and moisture and time of year, and then how you would actually put fire on the ground according to both of those things.
She got a lot of drip torch time the next day on a burn in Potter Valley, hiking into the wilderness with a lighter and a prescription, which is a set of objectives and permissible weather conditions. The procedural nature of the operation is designed to turn something with potentially catastrophic power into a routine set of surmountable tasks.
Typically in the briefing, the overall general briefing, the burn boss will introduce the objectives of the burn. So are you burning for fuels reduction? Are you burning for habitat restoration? There's a lot of oak woodlands in this area. So usually, protecting mature oaks is a goal of burns. And how are we going to do that? Then the burn boss will go over the spot weather forecast, which just lets everyone know how the weather is going to change throughout the day. Then the burn boss will talk about the prescription of the burn and what the firing plan is to remain within that prescription and achieve those objectives. And then go over safety and medical information. So where's the closest hospital? Who's our contingency plan? What kind of hazards could you maybe encounter in the unit?
In short, she's packed in a lot of learning about what it takes to run a prescribed burn. There is a lot of successful burning activity already happening in the area, but not nearly as much as we need to bring down our risk of intense wildfires. We need to pick up the pace. That's where all that training will pay off as Emily begins putting together things like guides for landowners on how to navigate the permitting process and helping them with tools to assess potential burns. Planning and preparing for a burn can take months or even years as crews prepare the site for maximum safety and effectiveness. But Emily is working to help make that process as short and easy to understand as possible.
And I guess this is where we should have started, but why would people set their property on fire?
Yeah, that's a great question. It does seem counterintuitive. We were teaching our first lesson in the fire education series out on the coast last week, and one of the students asked, so do you think you can fight fire with fire? And the answer I gave was absolutely. Prescribed fire is very, very different than wildfire. There's less smoke, the flame lengths are lower, it's low intensity, you're not killing everything in its path by any means. So a lot of it is that we have a fuels problem in California. There's been this historical regime of suppression for 150 years when indigenous people were banned from burning their own lands after doing it for thousands and thousands of years and stewarding the land. And then all of this fuel built up in the forests and in the grasslands. And now we have this problem where every time a wildfire comes through, it burns so hot and destroys everything in its path. So prescribed burning is a tool. It's not the only tool, but it's certainly a very valuable one in reducing the amount of fuel on the land in order to not prevent wildfire entirely, but lessen its intensity when it does inevitably come.
Thanks for tuning in to the Mendocino County Fire Safe Council podcast. To learn more about prescribed burns and how you can use this ancient strategy to manage your property, visit California's Hub for Prescribed Burn Associations at calpba.org.